Missed moments during a wedding day can ruin your reputation so fast. Today, I'm gonna break down exactly where you should be and when you should be there during a ceremony so that you never miss those shots that are once in a lifetime. Being in the right spot at the right time is crucial to being a wedding photographer, especially if you're shooting the ceremonies alone. Okay, so the first spot that I like to be before a ceremony is just around. So as all the guests are seated, so the guests are coming in, the seating, maybe the groomsmen are helping seat them. So we're gonna be there, but we're also gonna toggle to going to the bride and checking in on her and how she's doing, because she is in hiding and so is the whole bridal party and they cannot come out for the guests. So I like to toggle between the two, especially if they are close. If they are a little bit further, I opt into just texting the bride or not the bride, but somebody in the house, or not even texting, and we're just touching base, saying what's the plan, and then checking on the guests and all of that. Then I usually give a thumbs up to the DJ or the coordinator or someone when everything is ready and we're good to go. So we're just kind of hanging out in this kind of situation. So around the ceremony, we're taking candid shots, we're taking the guests seated, any laughter that you're seeing, any conversation. But this is usually 20 to 15 minutes before the ceremony. And then as everyone's seated down, so all the groomsmen are walking down their parents or things like that, and the groomsmen are walking down. So you want to be actually at the front for this so you can capture all of their beautiful faces coming down the aisle, because you are a one-person show and that is the most important photo. So you are going to stand right at the front of the aisle. So you are going to stand on the bride's side, because when the groomsmen are walking, they are going to walk right there, so then they're not walking past you in the other way, so you can clearly get a good shot without having to turn around. And you are gonna stay here for every single walking down the aisle moment. You can definitely move your way around in the front, but you wanna be at the front of the ceremony. And don't feel awkward standing out there when all of the guests are looking at you. It's totally normal, and everyone's gonna be looking at you, and it's totally fine. As soon as people start coming down the aisle, nobody's paying attention to you. So it's just that first awkward 5 minutes when nobody's walking down the aisle yet, but you are getting prepared and you're gonna get the shot. So please don't stress it. So this is where you're gonna get the bride coming down the aisle, and then I like to crouch down so the guests can still see over top of me when the people are going, but I like to crouch down, get in the aisle, especially because the groom, as the bride's coming down, you wanna capture the groom's reaction. So I'm crouched down and then I'm shooting the groom's reaction this way and then the bride this way. So there's literally not big movements. I literally just have to go this. So that's why I'm at the front on the corner, and I'm usually crouched down so everybody can still see, because I don't like to be completely in the way for these genuine moments, and I'd rather capture the genuine connection. So this is where the father of the bride gives away the bride, and then a whole hug exchange happens, handshake, something in the front. That's where I stand up, back up, make sure I get the whole shot, and then as everything happens, I sneak around in the middle of the aisle and keep backing up all the way back to the aisle, so I'm capturing photos of the two of them standing at the altar, and I work my way all the way to the back so that I can get a full ceremony shot with all of the guests, the full ceremony site. So I want to get that one as soon as possible, the furthest one away, so that when the first kiss or something happens, I can easily be at the front for the rest of it. So I'm kind of lingering around waiting for it. So you capture the big wide one, and then I like to sneak around one side and then the other. Depending how long the ceremony is, you have to be careful with where you're gonna be at what different times. So that's why you get the furthest shots away first. So I like to shoot some over the guests first and slowly work my way back, but I work from one side, and I try not to be in the way, so I try not to cut across the middle unless I absolutely have to. So I will go all the way around and capture photos that entire time, the far shots. So I get one of the groom's reaction this way and the bride's photos this way. And then I will also crouch down if I do need to get in the middle faster, and I've already done around the ceremony. So I will crouch down, just like do a quick little shuffle, get to the middle of the aisle. So the middle of the aisle is my safe zone. So I'm in the middle of the aisle, and then I'm getting some nice shots in the middle of the aisle of them just holding hands, saying their vows, getting the ring exchange. I like to be right in the middle for those shots and get a few of those. And then I also like to take some of the wedding party on each side. And then I just hang out in the middle, and then I can take photos of the guests just like this. They do notice most of the time, so if they like look at me, they will be looking at you, then I'm like, well, whatever, hopefully I get it. But it's like those times but when you're trying to take candidates of people and then they just like look at you, you're like not a candidate anymore. But so that's basically what you're gonna do, is just kind of like take like a few shots around, then take photos of the guests as you're waiting for like, key moments of vows or the ring exchange, and most importantly, like first kiss. So basically I'm hanging out in the aisle for the first kiss, and then they walk over to the paper signing. So you're right in the aisle, so you're just gonna like follow them, take photos as they get over there, and then you're just gonna hang out. Nobody's really watching the signing anyway, so you're not really gonna be in the way that much. So don't worry about where you have to be. You can be wherever the lighting is good or the angles are good for the signing, and just go with the flow on that. And then you're gonna make your way back to the middle of the aisle, because the couple is gonna go back to the altar, and then they're gonna start walking down the aisle. So a little bit of a key tip is to make sure that you ask your bride and groom before the ceremony to do like a little dip or a kiss or something like that, so you're not like yelling at them over everyone and be like, oh kiss, do a dip. I do that if I have to remind them, but then they are looking at me like, what? As they're walking down the aisle. So it makes it just for a better experience if everybody's prepared for what's about to happen. So we're walking down the aisle, and you're literally walking backwards. Like I'm like watching where I'm going, making sure, like, especially if the aisle is small and you're working next to a videographer, it's definitely a good little shuffle, because the bride and groom can move quite fast on this one sometimes. So this is like moments that you don't want to miss. This is once in a lifetime. So I'm just like constantly like clicking, backing up, and then we're like, oh, do the kiss, or I do that. I'll mimic that to them because they're looking right at me because I'm getting them. This is like favorite shot that almost all of my wedding couples love to use. It's them doing the dip or the kiss, walking back down the aisle with each of their guests on each side. So make sure that you get this shot. And then you get that shot, and then you follow the bride and groom out a little bit, and then the wedding party goes out, and then I take photos of everyone coming out of the ceremony down the aisle up until grandma and grandpa. And after that, I don't take photos of the guests, and I go find the bride and groom, and I take photos of all those genuine hugs after the ceremony, and all of those candid moments, and all things like that of the bride and groom. Does this help you at your next ceremony? I'm so intrigued to see how this is going to work for you. I hope that this helps you get at ease for your first ceremony, and that you love every single one of these photos that come out with it. Drop a like if you loved hearing about this, and if you even like these kind of videos, and I'll be happy to make more and talk about it.